Today we're having another lovely AMA with the OEM. Before we start, Bjorn, can we have a quick mic test from you?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope everyone can hear me well. And yeah, super nice to be here tonight.
Thank you very much. That pleasure certainly belongs to us. As I mentioned, hello everyone. Today we're having a nice AMA with OxVM. Also, our founder Skyline is their ambassador, so I'm quite excited for what they are bringing to the space today. But before we get into that part, Bjorn, can we have a self introduction from you for our lovely community to know more about you? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for organizing, Wei. I see we have quite a turnout tonight, so I'm super excited for that. Yes, so I'm Björn. I'm one of the founders and also the CEO of 0xVM. So before 0xVM, I was actually in the venture capital world as a partner in Antler Singapore. And during my time in Antler, we invested in more than 100 companies across Southeast Asia, and we also raised 2 funds. Before Antler, I held various engineering and CTO roles around engineering leader and CTO roles, I should say, around Southeast Asia and Europe. And now, as you know, I'm building 0xVM to make sure that Bitcoin can be all that it can be and all that we want it to be as well.
Thank you very much. First of all, that's a really cool background. And another part, like when we look at your, even on your personal Twitter, we have this sentence that it means the fastest modular execution layer for the Bitcoin. I mean, anybody who have used here Bitcoin so far in their life at least once, right? And we all have this problem where the blocks have to pass and there has to be like some huge fees based on the time. So what do you take upon the current station of the Bitcoin transactions?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, we all know that Bitcoin, as far as networks go, is unfortunately quite slow, right? And we have seen many L2s built recently, and of course, they have a great way of increasing TPS for everyone, so that we see scalable transactions happening on the Bitcoin network. We're taking a bit of a hybrid approach to this, we could say, right? So actually, our default state, we will still be seeing the Bitcoin type settlement times in 0xVM. And I can explain later on in detail how that works, right? But as a step 2, we're planning to build in rollups and even our own L2 to further increase the potential TPS of our network, right? But I think the initial use cases that we focus on won't require that tremendous type of transaction capacity. So we will start easy, I guess you could say, for ourselves there.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. It's like a motto for you guys right now. You know, everyone that has been speaking about OxVM is talking about this execution layer you guys have been talking about. So we will love to get in deep detail for that. But before we get into that part, we want to know about the background of the project. Like, how did you guys meet as a team and like decided that you need to do this, or how did you have a vision and how did it turn out to OxVM today?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kelvin, my co-founder, who unfortunately couldn't make it today, he's a very experienced Web3 entrepreneur. And I, on the other hand, I'm a very experienced, you could call it platform entrepreneur. You can probably see from my job experience that I have built, investment platforms like Antler, where we invested, as I said, in hundreds of companies across Southeast Asia. As a CTO, I have also built an application development platform in a previous life. So I think if there's one thing I understand very well, it's to build platform businesses. And Kelvin's experience is very much on the Web3 side. So, simply put, we have met before and we racked our hopefully averagely brilliant minds together, and we decided to build this. And of course, the question is also, there's many ways you could decide to scale Bitcoin. So why this particular way, right? And I think for us, what makes 0xVM really special is that in 0xVM, every transaction is ultimately a Bitcoin transaction. Because we know how I guess you could say, particular the Bitcoin community is, or the Bitcoin maxis out there as well, right? There's more than $1.2 trillion locked up in Bitcoin today, and a lot of that value sits there pretty much untouched, right? So, or I should say, doesn't move around much, right? So to enable that in a way that they appreciate, because again, in 0xVM, since every transaction is a Bitcoin transaction, you could, for example, transparently inspect your transactions using BTC scan, which of course wouldn't be possible if we had decided to go down the L2 route, for example. So yeah, I hope that provides a little bit of context around what we're doing.
For sure, for sure. Like with the term of layer, I'm sure it's not like unfamiliar with anybody here so far because we have seen many successful layers, especially in the Ethereum chain. And even right now, many people are using it for many reasons, even launching their projects on the second layers, some even making a project and launching it as their own layer. So, but the case with Bitcoin, though, it's much more bigger scale. Like right now, if you ask about even the big names such as the governments are investing in the Bitcoin, and for them the stability and for them the safety is the two important factor if they want to invest on the Bitcoin. So with that being said, I'm sure with experienced team you guys have can make a better difference. But I want to ask you one special question. So far it is, as you mentioned, we have seen some attempts similar to what you guys have been building so far. So what makes you guys different, unique, or better in your perspective compared to the other modules that are trying to similar what you guys want to accomplish?
Ooh, I love this question. And by the way, I'm also super happy that you share the sentiment. I mean, the opportunity is tremendously huge, right? It's exceptionally huge. And a number that I love to quote when I think about the current stage of the Bitcoin scalability issues is, if you look on Ethereum and L2s, today around 10% of the value of anything and everything on Ethereum is locked up in L2s. That same value on the Bitcoin network, despite Merlin, despite everything we have seen launched in the last while, you want to guess what that number is? That number is 0.1% for Bitcoin. In other words, there is a ridiculously big headroom to grow something truly tremendous here, which, it's both exciting and scary that it seems like no one before us has managed to crack that nut. But I do think with our ingredients and how we're thinking about it, we stand a good chance at doing that. And even if we take only a small part of that potential, this is still a massive success. So I think, yeah, the future is definitely very exciting. But to your question on what we're doing different from the other ones, right? So if we compare to, for example, the L2s out there, yeah, I mean, the fundamental difference is essentially what I highlighted earlier, right? So if you are an L2, you're essentially relying on the security and consensus mechanism of a foreign network. And sometimes you have cross-chain bridge issues, which has some centralization concerns, et cetera, et cetera. So you have these like choke points that are not necessarily maybe to the full benefit of the community. Also add to that again, the Bitcoin community is a relatively fickle one. They have viewed Bitcoin as a store of value for a really long time. So I think we have to be very delicate in what we bring to them and how we bring it to them. And that's again why in 0xVM, every transaction is a Bitcoin transaction. So your assets never leave the network, and security and consensus is also done on the Bitcoin network. So you don't need to worry about where your assets end up or if the network is safe or not. And that's the benefit of our approach, right? And that's the benefit of building an execution layer, which is separate. So we're not actually building a blockchain, even though it's easy to look at our website and assume that we're building an L2 or building a full-fledged blockchain. We're actually not. We're strictly building the mechanism that has the execution logic to bring smart contracts directly to Bitcoin L1. That's what we're doing. So that's compared to L2s. And this actually brings up another very interesting point as well. So even though L2s in some essence are our competitors, they're also potential partners of ours, because any L2 that would like to be able to natively settle their transactions on the Bitcoin network, well, guess what? We have built a framework that allows for just that, right? So if you're an L2 operator and you want to, say, build a rollup mechanism and have your transactions settled on BTC, then that's something that we can help them with as well. So for us, an L2 is not only a competitor, they're also a potential partner.
Wow, that's a really, what would you call, a next generation approach. And by next generation, I mean it's something that is ahead of the what others try to accomplish or already like dreaming about. And you guys are already
Yeah,
taking
no,
this to next level.
I'm glad you. We're super excited ourselves. So.
Thank you very much. I have been on this space for 3 years and I always enjoy the projects that are leading and shaping the future of Web3 in their own way. And I think you guys are one of the prime examples in Bitcoin. And when the term of Bitcoin comes, I think everybody here have to admit like people invest on the Bitcoin are the long-term people. And those people, as I mentioned previously, like such as governments or like big investment places. And for them, if you want to attract them, you need to have a stability and a really nice system. It is as you mentioned, like if you make a layer two for them, like it will be much more information, much more untrust issues, and many problems that may occur to them. But when you make a system like yours, it's much more stability and much more trust that can happen with the big term investors as well. Because people
Yeah,
that invest in the Bitcoin, is such an interesting trivia I want to give is most of the people right now are not fully into Web3. What I mean by this, those big investors are investing in many of the things. So a strong model like what you guys are building can be a huge opportunity to give more trust and attract these people as well. But I want to talk about the community part right now, because we have listeners here, we have all kinds of people, and you guys are fairly soon to launch one of your upcoming NFT collection. So when you're making a module like what you guys are doing, you want to attract as many people as possible. So what is the main reason do you guys launch an NFT collection on very small splice size when your aim is to make everyone connected with your project?
okay, I mean, I think it serves for us multiple purposes. So first off, and by the way, I wish my marketing team was here now that has advised us and ultimately fueled these efforts. But I think the thinking is we don't want to be about the NFT collection as a project, right? We're not a project that exists to build an NFT collection and launch an NFT collection. The NFT collection is a tool for us to build early supporters around our product. It's a way to reward KOLs and those that have closely aligned with us from the beginning. So we want to use these NFTs. That's why, our NFT will have utilities, of course, right? You can stake your NFT to get future airdrops. You stake your NFTs to get future benefits in 0xVM. And we view this more as sort of I guess a signal that you are someone that has stood with us and been with us since the early days, right? So we want to really use this NFTs and give them out to those that have helped us build our community and are going to help us get those critical initial users onto our platform. So that's how I view the NFT collection, and that's also why it's relatively limited in size. We just thought it would be more manageable that way, right? Instead of having, say, a mint of 10,000, we have a smaller one, so we can kind of be selective in who receives it, and we can also, treat them well and make sure that those that receive it get the benefits and the attention that they deserve.
Thank you very much. And you guys have run a very, very nice marketing, which like scribbling our PFPs. Like I was also
Yeah.
part of it personally. I really enjoyed it. Like I like these kind of interaction, what makes Web3 more essential, because I personally believe that Web3 should be a place where anybody can enjoy and be themselves. That's really, really good. And about the project you guys are making, can we talk about your roadmap so far? Like, what have you guys accomplished so far? And about the percentage wise, how ready is your module? Do you personally see, and what can we see from you guys in your roadmap?
Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Like history and roadmap, right? So the basics are, I mean, not talking about the technical side, but the basics are, of course, that 0xVM brings gaming, DeFi, memes, ultimately any DApp-enabled solution to the Bitcoin network. And what we have accomplished so far since we flicked on marketing just a few months ago, we have built a community online over our 2 Twitter accounts of 160,000 followers. We have also closed a healthy seed round of $5.2 million from investors such as Racers, Jump, UOB, Signum Capital, and others. We have secured agreements with launch partners, and I'm not going to say more than that today because we'll reserve that for a future AMA, but super excited to talk about that. And many of you would also know that we have launched a tap to earn game that ultimately is a way for us to recognize those that strongly believe and are excited about what we're bringing to the ecosystem. We have an honor program. We also have a Discord ambassador program that we can talk about a little bit later. And we have a strong pool that we have built up over the last few months, influencers and supporters all around the globe that are standing by us and are ready to support 0xVM in our future events and announcements and product efforts. So that's a bit of what we have done so far, right? But if we look down the roadmap of what comes next, we of course have the NFT mint, which will happen very soon. We will, in conjunction with that, also launch our NFT staking program, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. And then there's another point here that I'm also super excited to talk about. And our product has now reached a stage of maturity that makes it possible for us to run full-fledged nodes on our network. So we're also soon announcing a node sale for 0xVM nodes. And we will see more information about that announced very, very soon. But for those of you that would potentially be interested in running a 0xVM nodes, and of course, as early adopters see very healthy rewards in association with that, I would suggest that you follow our social channels closely. We will talk much more about that there. But yeah, so that's, and of course, after that, we are looking at our token launch. So as you can imagine, the team on my side, we are super, super busy in preparation for all of these things. And yeah, it's just an exciting time, honestly.
Wow, that's a really nice alpha about like the notes and everything. I'm sure people are really excited about it. I personally haven't been an expert in the technical part, but I have seen my fair bit of share and how things move on. So I hope that will be a nice part of experience as well. Um, Another question that came from the community part so far is that so far there's gonna be an NFT collection which a limited supply, and let's say that I'm a listener of this space and I just learned about your project. What are the ways I can connect with the project so far by being a community member? And since it's a Web3 project, how does the community affect the project? Like, what is the role of the community in your project in the long term? Thank you very much.
Okay, excellent question. So let's talk first about what you can do now then as community member. We actually have quite a few ways that we can engage with our community, and also that our community engages with us. And I love the fact that even though we recently started, we have a very healthy dialogue going back and forth with our community member. But to be concrete about it, so we have a tap to earn game that we launched a while ago. I think last time I looked at the number, there was around, it's quite a large number of players on this game. And in the game, you can buy in-game boosters that you can use to speed up and increase your earning potential in the game. And of course, all the in-game activity is tracked and your performance is tracked. And eventually this will result in airdrops and other rewards that you would be eligible to. So that's one way. That's, of course, a very passive engagement, you could say, right, from a community perspective. We also have an honor program, similarly, where you can complete tasks for points, which ultimately lead to future airdrops as well. We also have, which I'm very, very excited about, we have a Discord ambassador program. So, and as a member there, you get a stronger standing in the 0xVM community. And your standing is initially determined by your personal exposure to the crypto space, your reach, your Telegram, and Honor Game scores. And this also improves your chances to profit from future XVM airdrops. But other benefits you get, which are not necessarily airdrops related, by being a big part of our Discord community and being a Discord ambassador, you also get an honorary member status. So you get a stronger standing within the 0xVM community. You get early access and knowledge of 0xVM launches, rewards, and perks that we announce. You also get, which maybe to me as an engineer myself, I'm the most excited about, you also get influence. Your suggestions and improvements will ultimately help to shape how 0xVM is built out over time. And it means that your contributions could have a long-lasting impact on not only 0xVM, but if we are successful, which I think we will be, also the Bitcoin ecosystem as a whole. So the Discord ambassador program is exciting to participate in as well.
Thank you. I think personally, any project that is like Web3 based should be moving forward to community, and I'm really happy that you guys are looking positive side on this as well. Another aspect that people always like to talk about and ask is that the future of AI, and what do you guys think about a team that is making a project about the AI? And do you have any plans to make any integration with your project about AI? Thank you.
Haha. Okay, that's another nice question. I think we're probably at the peak, or we have passed the peak of the hype wave on AI-related projects right now, right? I mean, we saw over the last 6 months, I don't know how many AI-related projects have launched, or how many AI-related networks have launched. I think what we need to be careful with, honestly, any project that operates in a hype wave, right? So we're not building 0xVM to make a quick buck. We're not building it to to turn a quick profit. So we have deliberately not positioned ourselves with the hype waves, if you can say that, right? But we're building ourselves for longer term success for the network, and ultimately also for the community. But to answer your question a bit more directly, so one perk about 0xVM is that yes, we are an execution layer. This execution layer will initially be an EVM execution layer. And we do this to maximize developer reach for developers that are familiar with building for Ethereum, for example. Then this would be an easy way for them to start building applications for the Bitcoin network as well. However, we can actually switch out the VM type in 0xVM. This means that we don't only necessarily need to support EVM. So if you want to do something more AI related, let's say we want to support an execution methodology or VM type that is more AI native, then we can do that as well. So that's definitely a possibility. And I have to say, we haven't explored concrete AI projects to launch yet, but I think we will let the community guide us. And if there's a strong demand to building AI-oriented solutions on top of 0xVM, we will ensure that we have an execution engine that can support that, and let the community build the next generation of AI-driven apps that way.
Thank you very much. I believe that satisfies the people answer as well. Like, I personally always enjoy the AI aspect. I heavily invested in it in the history, but something people need to understand that the AI that people see on many projects are not even real AI, and they need to focus on what real AI is for sure if they're really interested in this topic, definitely. And since you already have a very strong background from the investment side, what can you say about your current partnerships and how do they affect your project? Like, do they just simply invest or do they have any more deep partnership with you guys in any way?
Haha, that's a good question. So actually, right now, as I mentioned earlier, we have closed our seed round effectively, right? And we're happy. We have the cash that we need to expand. So we're not sort of hungry for money from our partners. We're actually looking specifically for those that can bring value above and beyond money, right? So, but it's healthy though to, if you have an investor relationship, it's important that you ask for money from them still, because you want them to have skin in the game. You want them to have something on the line, because that's the way you can be certain that they're going to help you out when you really need it, right? So I think right now we're kind of hunting for value adding investors, if you will, on the investment side. But if we look at existing partnerships that we have acquired so far, I mean, yeah, we have some pretty solid ones. So one avenue that we're looking to explore once our mainnet is live in a few months would be, for example, to explore some of the deeper Web3 gaming partnerships that we have already established. It's actually kudos to my brilliant co-founder Kelvin. Through his network and prior engagements, we have managed to secure some pretty exciting opportunities in the Web3 gaming space that we think could be very exciting to launch as projects on top of 0xVM eventually. I can't share too much about that right now because we want to, announce that at the right time and use that to hype up and excite the community. But we have some pretty exciting things down the line that we're exploring. So, as an engineer and a product builder myself, I can't wait for our network to be live so we can start realizing some of these dreams that we have that we want to build on top of the network ultimately.
Thank you for the honest answer. And hype is just something very, very double-sided, like double-edged blade that people should be careful. I personally believe because if you create like overhype, it can also reduce the hype, like expectation people have towards you. But at the same time, if you control it very well, it can make the project go long term very, very nicely. So I hope that people will be able to control their hype towards your project and it will go in a very nice state because time on Web3 moves really, really fast. Um, these are the questions and aspects that I wanted to share with you and our community today from gathered by their questions as well. Is there any other topic or any alpha special to our listeners here that you would like to share at this time?
Oh my God. I mean, okay, there's so much I would love to talk about, but yeah, I think my marketing team or our marketing team will never forgive me if I overshare. So on the alpha side, I will bite my tongue. What I can say though is that, and I have already said this earlier, is that, and again, I'm very excited about this personally. Our node sale is not far away. So, and of course, for those of you that have participated in any node sales and node operations before, you know the game, right? It's the earlier you're in, the more you stand to profit personally. So those of you that would be interested in that, I would suggest again that you keep your eyes peeled on our social channels every day so that when the day that is launched, you can secure an early spot to operate the node on our network. Okay, so that's on the alpha side. Other than that, I just wanted to thank you for having me here. I mean, it's been amazing to chat for a little while, and I love your community, big fan. So it's been great to hang out for a little bit. And of course, again, for anyone else out there, if you search for 0xVM on Twitter, you will find us. And I think we also even linked in the description for this event. So hope to see many of you on Discord and hope to see many of you also become Discord ambassadors so we can work more closely together in the future.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, and the pleasure belongs to us. we Hunters Web3 are the biggest fighter statistics in the Web3. We have so many people, and they were really excited about this partnership, especially after our founder Skyline being you guys ambassadors. So I'm personally happy to be able to host this as well. And one thing I can definitely say to our community and to you as well, like since you guys are gonna be on the long term, we will definitely have more connections. And by I mean we will have more spaces in the future and more alpha as you guys update so we can share with our community as well. But guys, I personally know their marketing team as well, so I highly advise you guys to check in their socials at least what they're building with your own site as well, because a good project can never be covered in a single EMA. So you may find something you personally like. Who knows? Well, thanks everyone for the time today. And thanks Bjorn especially for taking his lovely time to explain this project. Personally, like we have seen many layer 2 attempts, but an execution like this can be much more stable and good. So I really wish my personal best on them as well. With that being said, guys, we'll be coming close to this today's EMA, but we'll be bringing you much more this month and upcoming times as usual as well. We love you all. Thanks to all. We're growing big as a family. And I wish you all a happy day, happy night, or happy morning based on your time zone. Until the next EMA, stay safe. Bye bye.
Awesome. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.